Have you ever wondered how I create my video content to make sure that I am not stumbling over my words or getting lost in thought or getting distracted as I'm having conversations with people? I actually use 3 different methods to create my videos, and I tend to work with what is working best at the moment for me for whatever video production I'm doing. Now, you can choose one path over another, but I highly encourage you to take advantage of all 3. It makes you a stronger public speaker, so when you're filming videos or when you're speaking on a stage somewhere, you have the ability to think in the moment and to navigate what you're doing without extra stress. So let me break down how this works. I have always started my channels by doing direct-to-camera filming. I would have one camera and I would say what I needed to say in one take. I did not cut. I did not remove things. I didn't have weird jumps in my content. I filmed exactly what I needed to say. And if I stumbled, I would let it go. And as I was going forward, it was easier for me to not stumble. I didn't have as many issues. But if I stumbled and it was really bad, I just started again. Yes, it took a few minutes to catch up to where I was, but this trained me and enabled me to always be able to speak in the moment without having prep time. So that if I'm speaking on a live stream, or if I'm speaking at a convention, or if I'm just speaking to a classroom, I have the ability to say what I need to say without struggling or stumbling or feeling like I'm getting overwhelmed with what I'm saying. This, for me, was the best way to learn how to create videos because I'm not messing things up as I go. And it really elevated what I was doing very, very quickly. And again, the more you do this, the easier it becomes. So when you practice what you're saying, when you say it straight through a number of times, it gets really easy. And then in the future, even if you don't have prep time on a topic to have a conversation about it, you can easily do that. So I always recommend practicing direct to camera without cutting, without having those cuts inside of your video footage that people clearly know you messed up and you had to do a jump cut on. Now, another thing that I did once I started to elevate what I was doing and I really leveled up in my business was that I learned that I could film it in sections. Now, I don't always do this. If I have a shorter video, I still do it direct to camera. But if I have a very long, very involved, very detailed video, I will film it in sections. There's 2 ways that I actually do this. Now, the first one is just with one camera, and I take the camera that I'm using, and then I move locations. So I will change my background, or I'll change my way that I'm standing. Like, I will move things around so it looks like an intentional cut and not, oops, I made an accident, I had to like crop out a piece of it. So I make it look like it's part of the intention. It is strategic. I'm moving locations, and that works really well. Now, direct to camera and filming straight on with a conversation is great. It's what I'm doing right now, but it could potentially get a little boring. So switching up your scenery is gonna keep their attention, which means you can film the first section, the introduction, and then you can move the camera and you can film the second piece, and then you can move the camera and you can film the third piece. You can get it in those sections, so if you mess up a section, you just have to re-record the section. This has worked really well for me. But then I leveled up what I was doing and I got another camera. So at that point, what I do, again, because I really like speaking direct to camera without cutting, because this really makes for a good flow of conversation and helps practice so that I can do my traveling and speaking and I can do my live streams without any stress. I love going straight to camera. So I'll take a camera here, but then I'll also take a camera and put it off to the side at an angle, so it's filming me from this direction. I then have my conversation with the main camera, and I just talk to the main camera and I go through without stopping or without hesitating. If I do have an issue, I can pause and start again, because what I then do is overlay the footage on top of the footage so that the audio matches up, and when I stumble or if I have an issue or if I just want to get that, remember, filming in different locations is going to keep people's attention. So if I want the ability to keep their attention by moving things, I just switch back and forth between my main feed and my bonus B-roll feed. This then allows it to look like a seamless conversation, and as long as I'm mindful of my hands and what I'm doing, if I stumble over my words and I was right in the middle of having my hands up, as long as I still have my hands up, I can start again, pause, start again, pick it up from the B camera roll, and it still looks like it. Now, if I stop in the middle of a sentence and it's up in the air and all of a sudden my hands are down, they're probably going to catch on to that. So just be mindful of that, but it's a really great way to make sure you're practicing your direct-to-camera, one-and-done conversation about the topic that you know and can speak about without having to move locations and without looking at your list so that you know where you're going next. Now again, if it's a really long video, I usually just change the background locations, or I'll have a list off to the side, I'll look at it, and I'll do the pause and start and use the B-roll for that. But if it's a shorter video, I don't need to worry about it because I know my topics. Now, the other option is to use a teleprompter. And let's just talk about this for a hot second, because teleprompters, that's an art form. Reading a teleprompter is an art form. You have to figure out exactly what you're going to say, so you have to type it up, but then you have to enter it into the teleprompter, and you have to be able to space it out properly so that you can read it. The speed has to be correct, and what I've learned with teleprompters is that it is really hard to get the speed down, because it will start off at a good speed and then it'll speed up, or it will slow down. I don't know what it is about these teleprompter apps, but they throw me every time. So unless you have a device that allows you to control it remotely off of screen, so either like a clicker or you've got some kind of pedal to do it with your foot, teleprompters can be a little bit hard. But like I said, it's an art form, because you will be at some point in a situation where you do want to read that, where you want to nail a video and say exactly the right words in the right order, in the right way. Or you are filming something professionally for someone else and you have to read a script. So learning that talent is going to be very helpful. So I sometimes work with a teleprompter, or I sometimes work with notes, just to make sure that I'm capable of having that skill. So there's a lot of different things that go into this. I love speaking direct to camera. I love being able to move my backgrounds. I love being able to use B-roll, and I can also work with a teleprompter when needed. These are all incredible skills to help level up your public speaking abilities and allow you to step onto any stage, on any live stream, on any podcast, or in any video and have someone ask you a question or hand you a topic that you then have to speak on or teach on without any prep time and still sound like you really know what you're talking about. So it's been years of me practicing and honing this, and I film in all of these different ways, and it could be very easy for me to settle into one way or another. If you've been watching my videos recently, you know I'm adding in extra content. I'm even adding in B-roll that has nothing to do with me or from another scene or whatever it is, because I'm leveling up my video production and giving people things to keep their attention. But you will notice that I take turns going through these different things to make sure my skills are on track at all times. Because if I get quote unquote lazy and I'm always using one over another, that means I'm going to start to lose skills in the other realm. So if I'm always speaking direct to camera, I'm not leveling up my video production with the B-roll, or I'm losing my ability to effectively read a teleprompter. If I'm always using a teleprompter, it could be a situation where I cannot speak on my own eventually, because I have to have the words in front of me and I'm relying on that. So I always make sure that I am using as many different ways as possible, and I'm mixing it up to work best for whatever that video is. So whatever's going to work best for that video, that's what I'm doing. I'm saving myself time and effort and energy. If I have to do direct to camera so I don't have to waste time editing later, that's fine. If I have to edit later so that I don't have to worry about constantly saying the right thing, that's fine. Whatever's going to work best for me in that moment with that particular video is what I do, but I do try to make sure that if I haven't done one way in a while, that I'm at least practicing it to make sure that I'm staying on top of my game in however I am going to be speaking. Now, if you've got questions on these, drop those down below, and stay tuned, because I'm going to give you more information on how I am building my videos for my YouTube channel, which are getting an insane number of views on some of these videos. It's crazy how many people are watching these. So I'm going to break down everything that I am doing so that you can steal my methods and my strategies and implement them into your own, so that you can level up on YouTube as well. Hit the subscribe and notification bell, and I'll be dropping more tips in the upcoming videos.